Okie dokie. We are live on YouTube. We're ready to go in just 30 seconds or so, folks. So if you're in the waiting room, just scrolling past on YouTube and you're seeing us right now, well, we are live. We're ready to go. We're going to have some awesome lessons to teach you today. We're just about ready to start letting folks in the room. Welcome, folks, to our Scale Fast program where we are teaching you today how clients have earned an extra $1 million, and that's actually US dollars. So you do your math, folk. In Australia, that's about 1.4 million, and a little bit more if you're in New Zealand, in just 90 days of extra revenue. We're here to teach you the exact system that our incredible coach, Alison Wheeler, has successfully and verifiably taught folk in the United States how to be able to do that revenue generation for their business using the 10x sales system. And we're excited absolutely to have you here. We're going to just tick off some of the technicalities that we need to do for us inside the chat. You will notice that we would love to have you follow some rules in the chat. So we obviously would like you to have your first name displayed. If you're not sure how to do that, find the three dots with your name and you can go and click on them and you'll get the opportunity to change your name. Please have your camera on. Only people with their name displayed and camera on will be permitted to ask questions in the Q&A. So make sure you got your pen ready to go with some questions to ask towards the end of today's live webinar. And VIPs, again, will have some priority. Raise your virtual hand to ask a question when you get to there. You'll find that in the apps at the bottom of your Zoom screen where you'll have the option to do that. Please be respectful in the chat. We will remove anyone that's not. There is no self-promotion or sending links in the chat. If you send a link in the chat, we will have you automatically removed as well. We prefer not to have that happen, of course. No AI note takers allowed because this is our intellectual property and licensed material that we're sharing with you. Only the hosts can record the webinar, which is happening as we speak, as we get to turn on the webinar and have you accept that, please. So welcome everyone to how clients have earned an extra $1 million revenue in just 90 days. So as we say there, make sure you've got your notepad ready. These are obviously no guaranteed results. The success stories and case studies that Alison and I will be presenting are examples of what has been achieved, but we can't guarantee that you will achieve similar results. Your results do depend on a variety of factors, including your dedication, commitment, and ability to implement the strategies that we're going to share. There are external factors such as market conditions, competition, and economic factors beyond our control can also impact your results. There is personal accountability, and you are responsible for your own success and should exercise due diligence and judgment when applying the knowledge and techniques provided. And of course, from a professional advice perspective, this content of our webinar is not a substitute for professional advice. Please consult with a qualified professional for any legal, financial, or business decisions. By participating in this webinar, you acknowledge that you've read and understood this disclaimer and will agree to apply the information provided at your own risk. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. So once again, we're here to talk about and share with you information specific to how clients have earned $1 million in extra revenue in just 90 days. So congratulations for having the discipline to turn up at very short notice for this webinar, because part of why we're doing this webinar is because we are using a low-tech system to demonstrate to our members within our ScaleFast program that you can, in fact, go live on a webinar with very little technological knowledge. So that's some information at the back end that we will be sharing during the week with members of our ScaleFast program. So something for you to consider right now is, what is your main reason for being here? What is it that you would like to get out of today? If you're happy to drop that in the chat for us, the main reason for you joining today, some information that you'd like to gather, and it might be about increasing your understanding. It might be that you're watching us live on YouTube. and you're thinking about starting a business. Now, if you are on YouTube, you're going to need to go and find the link to come and join from us. Keep the motivation going and learning from us, says Joyce. We appreciate that. And there is going to be some great learning and motivation coming out of today for you. So we're going to teach you again the exact techniques that Alison and I have access to through our coach, Grant Cardone. Now, as you can see, both of us have been in physical contact with Grant, and we are very, very lucky that Grant is our coach, and we have direct access not only to Grant, but his incredible team to help us help you. Now, the investment that Alison and I have made to be able to do that is far more considerable than the investment you folk need to have in order to learn that material from us. So literally, this information is 1 degree away for you from Grant Cardone, self-made billionaire. If you're not sure who he is, after today, go and search him up. You will find he's everywhere. 7 times best-selling author, one of the most incredible salespeople, business owners, and real estate owners in the world. So let's talk about the proven methods. Alison.
100%. So look, we wanted to share with you there are proven methods. This is not business success is driven through formulas. It's actually quite scientific. And if you know what the formulas are, then it's a lot easier to obviously create success. The problem is that most people don't know what they are. So let me share those with you so that you know who on earth you're actually talking to and who we're backed by. So Grant Cardone is gone from poverty to a multi-billionaire. His own employees have been earning, he has employees earning over $1 million US per year. The techniques that we'll be going through today have been used by over 375,442 training sessions completed by business owners worldwide. That was just last year. So, this information is accessible to anyone, but you do need the desire to succeed and the willingness to 100% commit to your business. Now, whatever that looks like for you, whatever 100% commitment is for you, we'll show you how you can learn more and succeed as we go through. But there's so much backing, and so many businesses have gone through these methodologies and getting amazing results. Sometimes you do have to have trust in yourself and trust in the process, but know that these methods that we're teaching you have been tried and tested. So I want to move on to that, why are you where you are now? Why aren't you where you want to be? It's not actually your fault. You don't know what you don't know. So you didn't know that there was a marketing and sales system that actually worked. A lot of business owners, they're very good at what they do, but they don't necessarily know how to run a business. And we have this idea that, I'm great at what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into business for myself. I don't want to work for someone else. Great. But then you need to learn the steps of running a business. The biggest two are marketing and sales. You thought you had to be perfect, and that everything had to be perfect before going to market. So a lot of business owners, they just take too long to get their product to the market, or themselves or their service to market. They run out of money. They go out of business in the process because they're trying to make it perfect. There's no such thing anyway. Grant talks about the iPhone, the phone. It's called an update on your phone because it's still broken, right? They're still perfecting the model, even though you have it in your hot little hands. So, kind of take that analogy on for yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to go to market and be tried and tested and improved upon. Another one is you've been listening to your family and friends who've said that you are crazy to go into business for yourself, or you're crazy to commit this much, or many other, mannerisms or many other things they've told you. You're too nice, you're too this, you're too that. They're just projecting themselves on you. They're trying to hold you back. And sometimes we've got to a point where it's not our family and friends that are doing that anymore. It's actually ourselves, because we've heard it so many times. We start doing that to ourselves. It's a trap. Watch out for that one. You didn't know people need to see you at least 30 times before they'll consider exploring what you have to offer. You need 30 touch points out there, right? So that's on multiple platforms. It means you need to be seen in multiple places so people can engage with you. So if you haven't got put that out there, how are they going to trust you? How are they going to find that information? Knowing these sort of stats allows you to adjust correctly to what you actually need to do in order to get your business to the success level that you are looking for. You start looking around. You start looking around at what everyone else is doing. You start looking for things to fail. Things are tough. That's what you're looking to see. You are either going to look for your business to succeed or look for it to fail. It is 100% your choice. And I completely suggest that you adjust your mindset to look for how your business can succeed, not for how it can fail. So, Gary, over to you.
Thanks, Alison. That's excellent. And look, the conditions in both Australia and New Zealand are challenging. And the thing is, for those of you that have shown up and have got the discipline and motivation to turn up, it's because if you think about it, your business is here or your business's idea is here, and you want to get up to here. And our intention and our desire and why Alison and I are here is because we are passionate about helping you, business owners, go from here to that point of success. In fact, we even want to challenge you to push through whatever lid you've even imagined your success to be. So even just briefly, stopping and just writing down one thing about your life that would be different. Just one thing. We really want to challenge you to write this down right now. What would be one thing about your life that would be different when you achieve your business goals? It might be your ability to help other people and how that's increased. It could be about the sorts of holidays you can take. It could be about physical possessions. It could be about the options that you can give to other people in your family that currently might not have some options. It might be things to do with physical health and being able to access some particular doctors or something like that that currently is out of reach. There's a whole breadth of things that people can actually access from being successful. And one of the things that I know that drives both myself and Alison is that we actually want to have the impact in people's lives that makes their home life better. And by making their home life better, that actually makes our communities better at a local level. And that actually contributes to making our countries the sort of places where we want our children to be raised in, because Alison has her daughter and I have my 5 children, and we know many people in our community do too. And even if you don't have children, you still want to live in a better world. And we're super, super passionate about that, which is why we're here right now. We're here on a Saturday afternoon giving our time because we're so passionate about helping people and businesses in particular and business owners create the success that they want. So as we've got there, it is. But so why now? Well, you don't want to be left behind. And the reality is there is so much change happening from a business point of view in the world right now. It's not funny. Now, I'll give you a quick example. I'm in a situation where I'm an executive for a will and I have to get a ring valued. And so I was given a specific person's business name and number to call, and I called them on Wednesday. They didn't answer the phone. I left a message. By a couple of hours ago, they still hadn't returned my call. And only because I actually see this person as being a potential client of mine, did I bother ringing them back and not just go search for someone else? Now I rang them, they answered the phone, and I mentioned to them I called you on Wednesday. They went and they were so flippant about the fact that I called them on Wednesday. Right. Now, as it turned out, when I am going to go see them, they're actually working for a different jeweler on that particular day and not themselves. Now, why do you think that is? Because you can't, in 2025, you can't be not taking calls immediately. And it doesn't matter if that call actually happens to come through at 2 a.m. And there are now tools available for people to be able to do things like that, that are actually cheaper than having full-time staff. And this is available right now. This stuff's available right now. But if people aren't in the circles like you are here, they don't even know that they exist. And what's going to happen is the people that are early adopters with these systems and processes are just going to skyrocket over the top. And people are just going to wonder why business is so hard. But they're not investing in their learning like you folk are being here. So it is time to make it happen. You don't want to be a statistic with 20% of businesses across Australia and New Zealand failing in year one. 60%, 3 out of 5 fail by year 3. 95% are gone by year 10. Now, Alison and I have both been in business for over 10 years each. I've just celebrated 18 years, and Alison's coming up to her 14th year. Alison, that's correct? Yeah, right. So, we are a couple that are examples of people that have lasted a long time. And in Australia last year, there were record insolvencies. And again, we want to help avoid people getting into that, which is why I want to introduce the incredible Alison Wheeler to talk herself to the success that she was able to achieve with her clients who did, in fact, break through over $1 million. I'll let Alison share the exact figures, over 1 million US dollars in just 90 days extra revenue for their business. Alison.
Absolutely. So I had the pleasure of working with Scott and Layla from they have a dental practice in the States. So I had the pleasure of working with them, coaching them for the 90-day revenue challenge. The challenge was to increase revenue by $1 million in USD in a 90-day period. So that was on top of whatever the base that they were doing. And we had an absolute blast through the 90 days. And it was a challenge, no doubt, right? They absolutely committed. They went for it. They followed the 7 steps, which we will go through as we go through this webinar. We'll absolutely speak to the 7 steps that we followed and coached throughout. And they applied it. They were willing to give something up in order to get something else. They were willing to give up in the short term things like watching a bit of extra television or time here and there doing other things. They were willing to give that up for 90 days to focus on their goal, to push their business into the market, to market loud enough to get enough attention, to get enough people in. It is amazing what can be done in 90 days. The interesting thing was, though, it gave them so much energy and so much of a vitality and a relift. Their business was flatlining prior. It wasn't going and it wasn't improving. It was flatlining. They were losing the motivation, the mojo for their business. And through the 90 days, they got their mojo back. Their business flourished and prospered. They were energized. And they were just going, it was just such a cool process to be able to coach them through. And I'm excited that we can share the 7 steps today, Gary.
100%. And just some data around them, which was in the testimonial. They had been doing $480,000 per month. They went up to an average of $834,000 per month across the 3 months of the challenge. And that's where they got to the 1.15 million US dollars extra in revenue. So they're the real numbers. They have been verified by accountants independently so that they could win the competition that they were in. And Alison has been recognized as the only coach in the world ever to have those verifiable results. So folks, when you choose to join the ScaleFast program, you've actually got access to the only coach in the world that I have absolute delight to be able to work with who has been able to do that. Now, I do know on YouTube, a shout out to Narelle Lyon and Jason Sutton that are sitting on YouTube watching us at the moment, and they've shared a testimonial with my coaching of being able to get to about 2.5 times their monthly revenue as a result of applying this 10x sales system too. So big shout out to you. Great to see you joining us there on YouTube, as we can see with some other folk there as well. Let's go, as you've said there. I love it. And so let's keep going and really sort of push through now into, as I mentioned, we've got Jason and Narelle there. There's their testimony for some of the work that they've done with me. And in addition to them, we've got both some more testimonials from also Bradley Garner over in the USA and Michigan, and also from Charles Storber in Hamilton West in New Zealand, to show that, again, we do work across both Australia and New Zealand, and we serve clients internationally. We've also got a quote there from Joachim Sonderberg from Denmark, and also from Jayceen from Rococo Botanicals. Jayceen Greenwood, incredible story with her company and the growth and the work that she's been doing also with Alison. So, Alison, let's get into the 10x sales system. Pens out, ready, folks. Those of you that have been exposed to this before, your challenge is, what more can you learn? Let's go.
Absolutely. So step number 1 in the system is idea and target. So we all need to know, what's the idea? What's the business target? Gary, do you want to see if the words can come up? They're just not showing. So idea, thank you. Idea and target. So you need to have your business idea or your product idea or wherever, because if this is cyclical, goes round and round. You're going to iterate over this over and over again. So what is the idea? Great, I want to sell a product or a service. Then we need, what is the target? What is the actual goal that you are heading for? Make it, and this is the thing that often people do, is they choose a target. Oh, I think I can do that. I'm just going to reach a little bit further. That target isn't going to change your life whatsoever. And so you have no motivation. We lose motivation to be able to keep going. It's just not going to change your life enough. So that target needs to be big enough that you know it's going to make a significant enough difference in order for you to go through the discomfort and the challenges that you will face, because you'll face them through the 7 steps. It has to be big enough that you know you're going to stand up to those challenges because the payoff is big enough. But if it's just a little bit different from how your life is right now, are you really going to be that motivated to change? Are you going to be able to have the wherewithal to go through the resistance points that you will hit? Probably not. So that targeting is really important. And then from there, we do a whole lot of reverse math. We're not going to go through that today. We're just going to talk to the points on the thing, but you reverse engineer from there. We do reverse maths from there to work out from that target. How many people do you need to be selling to? How many people do you need to be talking to? What are your product price points? What's your product menu? All of those things come out of, but that number one is super important. That has to be defined first because everything else flows from there. Begin with the end in mind. You've heard that saying before. It is very true in business. If you're purchasing a business, we always say to know your exit strategy before you enter into the business. It is the same with anything. What do you actually want? What's the idea and what's the target? What are you going for? And make sure it's big enough that you know it will change your life so that when it gets hard, because it will, that you will continue on. So that is idea and target. Gary, you're up next.
Thank you, Alison. And we're actually going to circle back to idea and target and all of this once we've actually completed explaining it all to you too, folks. But it's so important to have those goals and targets, as Alison has just said. So the second part of the 10x sales system is getting attention. And this is about doing everything you can. What Alison and I are demonstrating right now is taking an idea yesterday, setting a target to be able to make this happen in less than 24 hours, get some audience, get some more eyeballs, get a recording, get it live on YouTube, which is all about getting attention. All the activity we did, the massive action we did to even let people know about that this is happening is also about getting attention. And you have to get attention. One of the biggest problems that small business owners, medium business owners, and even large business owners are doing is they're not getting enough attention and they're afraid to get attention. What we teach you through the SCALEFAST program and what the Franks did is they went out and they got attention, more attention than they'd ever gone and gotten themselves before. Alison, what would be just one example of one piece of attention getting that the Franks did that they previously hadn't done?
Well, one thing they did is they had some things that were already working. So they doubled down. They actually doubled down on all successful actions. That's one thing that they did. So they looked at and they assessed what was working and they doubled it. But the other thing that they started to do was they started to market to their to their power base, to their database, which they hadn't done before. They went out to those people. They followed up. They said, hey, we're doing this 90-day challenge. Other doctors in the area that could refer, they went out and they started to introduce themselves to those people. So they had a bigger referral basis, right? So anywhere they could push into the market and find another little drip here and another drip here, because everything counted. Every action counted toward moving that needle further and further along.
Yeah, and that idea of repeating successful actions and also going back to their existing database and previously sold customers And also what you said there, Alison, just briefly about Power Base. Now, in the Scale Fast program, going into a lot of detail about the 10 categories of what your Power Base is and what you need to do. But one of my clients recently who's telling me that there's no one. And if you're watching, you will know who you are right now who said this to me. There's a very big chance you're actually watching this right now, possibly on YouTube. So give us a shout out in the comments if you're there at the moment. You'll know exactly who I'm talking to. And that person said to me that they didn't really have anyone that they could get attention from. I said, you mentioned to me that you live in an apartment building. I said, how many people, how many units are in that apartment? How many apartments? He said 45. So I said, you got 44 neighbors. Don't they have little slots downstairs somewhere or on the floors where people they get their mail? Like, what if you were to introduce yourself with a photo of yourself saying, hey, I'm so and so from apartment, I'm going to call it apartment 9. Hey, how you doing? It'd be great to say hello. That's getting it. No one does that. No one even wants to talk to their neighbors, and yet your neighbors potentially are part of what you could be doing. Now, you're not going to go and just sell to them the first time. We teach you how to make those introductions so that they're natural, etc. But normally, if you say g'day to people, what are you up to? They'll then ask you back, and then who knows where that conversation absolutely can go. And we train you to be able to do that so that you're always aware of it. So you could even be on holidays and you bump into someone, and the people that you might be sitting around in a pool somewhere having a beautiful margarita or whatever the cocktail might be. If you're into those things, all of a sudden you're having a conversation. It's natural, it flows, but you realize this person is potentially someone that I could be getting attention for my business, and you're not afraid to introduce that naturally at the appropriate time with the sorts of things that we teach you. So that then takes us, after attention, it takes us to
leads. You need to generate leads. So we're getting attention. They need to go somewhere, right? So they need to start engaging with you. How are you going to do that? Do you know how you're going to generate leads? Are you going to have a landing page, a website? Are they DMing you? What's your call to action? How are you going to bring these people into your ecosystem? Right? You need to, so we're getting attention. You need to tell them to do something, contact you, call you, DM you, jump onto your website or landing page, whatever it is. Give them a free ebook so they join your newsletter, or whatever way you can start collecting leads. It's super. You need to take that attention somewhere, and the more you can get people off socials. So let's say you are actually drawing a lot of attention off socials. We want to bring that attention off socials into our own database so that you can nurture those people along. So that if something happened to that lead source and it went away, you can still market to those people, because we know, which comes further in the cycle, but we know we need to nurture these people. So we need to generate leads. We need to capture those leads. We need to put them somewhere. You might have that in a CRM, which is a customer relationship manager. Now, if you're very early in business, it might be an Excel spreadsheet or a book or an email. It doesn't really matter, but capture those details somewhere. And we also know that if you're asking for too many details, you'll require the amount of leads coming through will go down. You're creating too much resistance. Make it easy to do business with you. Get the minimum number of details that you need: a phone, a number, or an email, and a name, an email number, and phone email name, email, phone number. I'll get that right eventually. But you only, do you need more than that, right? Probably not. So stop asking for more than you need. You can do that when you are speaking to the person. You can go through further qualifications, but make it super simple to be able to become a lead for you. So a lead is someone who is interested in your business or services. Also, when you're grabbing attention, ask people, who do you know that might be interested in my services? Right? Generate leads through the people you know. It might not be the people that you directly know, but it can be all of the people that they know. So always, always ask for referrals. Never be afraid to ask. If you do not learn to ask, you will not go very far in your business. Ask for the sale, ask for the leads, ask for the referrals. You have to get the gumption to actually ask.
Yeah, and along those lines, Alison, that is such a powerful question. to be just asked, who do you know? Now, for some people that are really green coming into this business world and they're still building up the scripts and the way that they have the conversation to be able to actually talk about their business. But when you, let's say you're having had that conversation over the margarita, and you could actually say there, oh, is there anyone that you like once you explain what you do, rather than going, are you interested? You might actually say, is there anyone that you know that might be interested? Now, if they are interested, they'll say, yeah, me. They'll actually say me. And it's a really easier way to actually do that. Now, even for this webinar, using the low-tech system that we've used deliberately for today, pop in the chat, what information did you have to give to be able to get into this webinar, which we have, even if you didn't turn up. Even if you didn't turn up, we now have this information. And what was it that you had to give as the exchange for the free webinar? You folk on YouTube Live, what do you think it was? Name, email, and your Skype and or so your name, email, and Skype. Exactly. Thanks, Joyce. So we've got that information from you, got people's name and email, which means that we can then move into the next step of the sales system, right? Which is lead management. We have to have a system in place to manage leads because, as we said right at the start, it takes up to 30 exposures of your service or product before someone will even give you their name as a lead. Even before they'll become a lead, it takes up to 30 times on average. And if you're not doing that part very well, it'll even take a hell of a lot more. But once you've then got them, it still takes for 80% of sales between 5 and 12 follow-up contacts within which you need to be creative. You can't just be doing the same thing all of the time in order to increase the probability of them becoming a sale for you. So nurturing your leads, which includes going back to previously sold people again and re-engaging with them and nurturing them again. Too many businesses out there are discounting the value of their existing databases, and there is gold in there. But because they've never nurtured them properly, they become scared to start doing it, which is just silly because they go and put all this effort to try and get new customers, and yet they've actually got existing ones that they could be nurturing. Even if it was just asking the question, hey, we're doing this service, who do you know that might benefit from it, right? And that's a really big opportunity from your lead management. You got to put time and effort into it. It is possible to do it with low technology. But of course, now there is a lot of technology, relatively cheap technology. You want to be careful at the moment because there's an explosion of AI tools in this space. So, if it seems too cheap from an AI technology point of view, it probably is. And you need to raise your understanding of these techniques to be able to make the right decisions about what services are right for you. So we wouldn't encourage you to go into that space of buying those sorts of tools with a low level of your own competence and understanding. Again, it's some of the things that are the benefits of being in the SCALEFAST program is we can raise your confidence levels, raise your understanding of business so that when you start looking at how you might be able to engage with these tools, you're in a better position to be able to make the judgment call about, is this really actually what it says it is? Okay. And also you got people within the community you can lean on to ask those sorts of questions to as well. So lead management is number 4, which then takes us up to the 5th step of the 10x sales system, which is
sales. So this is where you actually get paid, right? So once you've nurtured your leads, then you actually need to sell them something. So what are you selling them? Do you know how you're going to collect payment? How are you collecting payments? Are you making that easy for someone or difficult for someone? Do they need to jump through too many hoops? What price points are you selling for? What's on your menu of offers that you can upsell, downsell, have a second sale? What's your second sale item, right? What's your third sale item? What are these things that you are going to sell this person? Are you ready to collect money? And thirdly, are you actually asking for the sale? 80% of all salespeople don't ask for the sale. Greatest and easiest question that I love the most. Have you heard or seen enough to make a decision? That is a close, people. That is a close. And you need to ask for the sale because People can be really interested in your product and they're just waiting for you to actually ask. What do you think is not a closed question? You need to close the sale. You have to have the willingness to confront and actually ask for the sale. And prior to that, we're not going through it today, but there is a 5-step process. It's a sales process to go through. It's important that you learn that sales process and know where you are at in the sale, because there are 5 steps to that. So you need to understand sales and where you're at, because it allows you to have agility and not get lost and not, lose your place and not be sold by the customer. So you stay in the sales role. So there are a number of steps to learn in that sales process so that you have confidence going through that process and know what you're doing, when you're doing it, why you're saying what you're saying. You're not overselling, you're not over talking. Some people have a ridiculously long sales process. People get buyer's fatigue. We want to prevent all of those things from happening, from having a very succinct sales process that's transparent and also works for you. So that's the sales process, Gary. Then we move on to ching, the part that we all want to get to, which is
Managing the money. And folks, what that's about is how you invest the money you're making from your business back into your business, how you're investing that money into your staff and their development, how you're investing that money into your sales and your systems. So how you're investing that money into getting attention, how you're managing your leads, how you're doing your lead management, how you're training people to be able to close the deals and do the sales that Alison was just talking about just now. Managing the money is about how you enable your business to be able to go to the next step, which we'll get to in just a second. But if you want your business to be able to grow over time, you're going to find that there's these certain breakpoints that you get stuck under with your revenue. So there's several break points on the way to $1 million. The first one's around the 250 mark. Second one's around 400. Then we're about 700,000. Then $1 million becomes its own break point. There's another one at 3 million, another one at around about the 8 million mark, again at 15. Then we jump up to 25. Then we go to 45, then 70, then 100 million, then 125 million, all the way through. There's these certain elements under managing the money that if you're not doing it right. So one example of one client that I'm working with at the moment, they're a $3 million business, but they want to be a $10 million business. Part of managing the money is they need to invest in someone at a really senior operations management level who's actually worked in successfully and gone through the growth phase of 3 to 10 million before. They need to go and headhunt someone with that skill set under managing the money as an investment to bring that talent into their business so they can go through that break point. Now, they had no idea that the break points existed. They had no idea, like cognitively, they sort of realized that they've got to do this. But when I first started doing some work with them, they were actually looking for someone that had worked in a smaller business to come into that role. And I'm like, you know, these are some things that you should consider when you're going down this path. You need, and so they're going, but that sort of person, what was their objection, do you think? Spot on. And yes, thank you. In YouTube, like their objection was they didn't want to spend the money. But that's what managing the money is about. It's about being very smart and intelligent and understanding about how the system actually works so that you can grow and scale your business. Okay. So after managing the money, I might have let the word slip out, Alison. The next one is.
Yeah, I think you did. It is scale, scale, scale. So then obviously you're injecting money back into the business. We need to work out how are you going to scale? How are you going to scale your operations from here? Is that more people? Is that different systems, AI supports? Do you need an admin support? What's your next hire? What's the next person? How do you continue to scale to be able to service more and more and more people? So scaling is an essential part of your business growth. I've heard lots of businesses say, I just want to stay the same. Unfortunately, that is just something that can't happen because prices go up, things change, we have world events. You will go out of business if your goal is just to stay the same. because gravity will take care of you. Something will happen and it takes you out. You want to have that growth mindset. Always be looking, how can you grow? How can you scale? How can you reinvest in your business? What are the next tools? What are the support systems that that you need to put in place to be able to get to the next level? What do you need to identify that you're going to delegate and duplicate, right? Duplicate you. What parts of the activities are you going to delegate? Who do you need to duplicate that, right? So always looking to, okay, as you grow, okay, this part of my job I can give to someone else. Great. Let's get someone in there. This part of that job that can be going to someone else. So always looking, how can you keep you focused on the main activities that you need to be in for your business and working on your business, and then look to define what are you going to start, change, and stop. What are you going to delegate? But if you're going to delegate, you also need to duplicate, because you need someone to delegate it to. So as you are identifying the delegations, you need to identify who you're duplicating it to as well, and that will allow you to continue to scale.
And we'll get you to keep going, Alison, please.
100%. And look, this is a really great graphic that Gary put together. I love it. And this 7 steps are really like a set of dominoes, because, for those of you who have played dominoes, I'm sure most of you have, although it's not a game that's played much anymore, but you have to have the dominoes close enough together in order to push each other over. So you have to be getting enough, that idea and target has to be strong enough, that attention has to be big enough to be able to lean and to push and to push and to push, so that they all come tumbling one upon the other. Gary, the next slide is a great example of what happens if you don't have enough in there, where you got this great idea and target, but you wait so long, you get no attention, it just goes away, right? We run out of puff, we run out of energy. And this can happen over and over and over again. So you have to re-engage in the idea and the target, and re-engage and re-employ yourself in your business, and buy back into your goals. This might happen multiple times a day. There's not a business owner on the planet that I don't know that has to actually buy back into their goals every day, because the faster you move, the more things that will knock you off your perch. So we need to make sure that the gap between idea and target is not too big, where we're getting enough intention, because otherwise the dominoes can't tip each other over. So that going from idea to attention is hugely important, and don't leave that gap to be so big, because your dominoes won't fall.
And it's also why with the SCALEFAST program, isn't it, Alison, that we push the members to be able to identify what the sorts of things that they can be getting attention about. And we often have members that straight away they say things like, but I haven't got my business yet. That's okay. Start getting attention anyway, because yeah, well, what will I get attention about? Okay. What's something you're passionate about that might be maybe not your business, but it's something else, right? What is a story that you've got to tell about yourself? How can you relate? How can you become relatable through your own life experiences? You don't get to be at whatever age you are. Even if you're 18 years old starting your business, you've still got life experiences that you've gone through that can make you relatable, that you can talk about. So there's so many different things. Like I was just yesterday talking with someone that just briefly mentioned they were thinking about doing a marathon. Well, I ran 11 marathons, and this person was saying, oh, I was thinking about maybe doing a marathon in America. Well, it turned out that the first marathon I ever did was in New York, and so it was in America. Now, the thing is, you've got to learn the skills so you don't take whatever they're talking about and then make it all about you, but you can drop these things in there to make it relatable. However, from a social media point of view and getting attention point of view, I can talk about running marathons, and I can talk about it any time, especially when your New York Marathon's rolling around again. I can jump online and talk about back in 2006 when I did the New York Marathon and da 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 da, and flick them a link to the actual video I made of actually running. I took a little physical camera with me, and I actually back then videoed myself running the actual New York Marathon, which was, pretty cool. Except for YouTube took all the sound off me because they reckon I broke copyright. But anyway, that's another whole story. For those of you on YouTube, don't go looking for that just now. Stay with us, please. All right. Now, that does lead us to the next element of understanding, and that is that why do businesses actually fail? Now, we know this data. So we know that this 10x sales system works. We know that through the Franks and other clients who have created great success with it, we know it works. So what's happening for businesses when it's not working? Well, the first step is their targets are too low. They haven't actually set goals that are big enough that are going to that are going to change their life. That creates the motivation, the sort of motivation that would cause you to give up some time on a Saturday afternoon to actually show up to something like this, even though it's free, right? That's how that motivation manifests itself. You do the sorts of things you weren't doing, like coming along and learning what you're learning now. They have severely underestimated the time, resources, effort, and investment required to accomplish the target. It is hard work, folks, to be successful in business. The 18 years I've had and the 13, nearly 14 years Alison has had, so combined now, nearly 32 years of experience between the two of us, we know it's hard work, and that's just a brutal reality. There are ways to make that hard work easier, not easy, but easier, right? You understand, folks? Drop a Y in the chat if you understand what that means. That it can be easier rather than easy. If that makes sense to you, just drop a Y in the chat for us, please. And also on YouTube, I'm following that. Okay, great. We've got some Ys. Awesome. Thank you, Joyce, there too for us, right? So you've got to understand that there's going to be moments, even when you can cognitively understand what this is saying, there are going to be moments when you're going, oh my God, this is so much harder than I thought. Yes, that's going to happen, folks. And it's like, all right, well, what we teach you in ScaleFast is we teach you what to do. And what you do next is, if nothing else, get attention. Just if you're going to do nothing else, just go and get some attention. There'll be an element on that wheel because there's so much more depth to what makes up each of those 7 steps. There'll be an element there for you to just go and do some action in that right now. And hopefully we're demonstrating for you right now, okay? Because we could see a need to teach our members about how to do this low technology version of doing a webinar. So spending too much time competing and not dominating your sector. Yes, you need to know what your competition's doing. You need to know what your competition's charging. You need to know what their service levels are like. It's a great idea to go and experience your competition if you can. However, that's not from the perspective of competing with them. It's actually from the perspective of I'm going to be so good that people will have no choice but to come with me. And I'm in fact probably going to be charging more than what the competition's charging because we're going to deliver so much more value. And when you are so sold on what you do to that level, to that degree, that you know that no matter what you charge, you're going to be given value for that, right? You're going to be giving great value for what you charge because you know you're going to exceed the value that people even originally thought you were going to do. That gives you so much confidence. You don't have to compete with the competition, okay? And so we talk about the underestimation of not understanding how to dominate and instead falling into competing with competition is a major mistake that businesses are making. And the final one is underestimating the amount of adversity that they will need to overcome in order to actually achieve their target. So what does adversity mean? You know, that's yourself getting sick. It's someone that you love getting crook. It's a car accident that takes your car out of accident for 3 weeks while it's getting repaired. It's something there's a meteor in the economy, the macro economy, and it's like holy moly, I wasn't seeing that come along. Many of you have heard my story with regard to the pandemic and how 90% of my business that had been 14-year-old at that stage, that in 5 business days, 90% of my business stopped. And I ended up living in, and I still do live in, the city that ended up being the most locked down city in the world of a major city, for 265 days over that 2-year period with 5 children. So that was some serious, serious adversity, right? Some serious adversity. But we're still here. We're still learning. We're still growing. We've written 6 books in that period of time since then, all bestsellers, in fact. 5 of them I wrote 7 books, not 6. 5 of them are with Alison. So adversity is going to come. If you're not committed to your goal and your target, you will back off, right? Lots of people start their businesses and they actually start getting some success. And the first thing you see them do is they go on holidays for 3 weeks. And they haven't set up any automated systems to keep getting attention while they're not there. And then they come back and they've got to start getting attention again. And then 3 months later, because there's always a delay with these things, they're scratching their chin going, oh, my business isn't working all of a sudden. It's a great factor as to why 20% of businesses go out of business in the first 12 months, because business owners are making those sorts of mistakes because they haven't set the goals big enough to get the motivation right to be able to take them forward. So, Alison, what can we show people? And folks, money follows attention.
So
Doesn't
what
it, Alison?
it sure does. And, you know, there are so many. Well, the Franks is a perfect example. They got a lot of attention. They're going to get a whole lot more, particularly at GrowthCon very shortly in March. But, you know, money follows attention. If you want wherever, and that is also the same for where your attention goes, your money flows. So that works both ways, outflow and inflow. But what we want to do today is we want to allow, you know, give you the opportunity to join our ScaleFast program. So this is an opportunity to have a coaching with both Gary and myself in our group mentoring program. So our weekly ScaleFast program, it happens every Tuesday evening. We conduct 48 sessions over a year. The total value of that is $57,600 in value across the year. Sessions last for about 45 to 50 minutes. We have Q&A where we do education, we practice. And then we have a WhatsApp accountability group. We have a Facebook group. Value of that is $1,970. And we are always adding additional resources to we have a mentoring vault that you get access to as well. So you can get all of the recordings. So if for some reason you miss it or you want to go back and watch a replay, then you can get access to those, all the workbooks. Everything we provide is within that vault. And we're adding to that all of the time. So every single week we dive into different topics. So we do the 10x math. So 10x finances, 10x math, 10x mindset, 10x marketing, 10x sales, 10x follow-up. So the total overall value of that, including the recording, so we have 57 hours already in the vault and it's growing every single week. The value of that's $9,970. Total value of all of that is $69,540 in value. Now, for those of you who are listening today, we do have a special offer for you. Usually that is $497 per month. But for those of you listening today and who choose to sign up and act now so that you can thrive in 2025, it is $197 per month, which gives you 4 sessions, 48 sessions across the year. $197 Australian per month. The SIYD, for those of you don't know what that means, it is a stupid if you don't offer. So we have thrown everything at you that we can to help you succeed, and we want to support you to succeed in your business. And it is simply as joining our ScaleFast program, where we can dive into helping you and your business through these 7 steps and scaling. So $197 per month. Gary, I will hand it over to you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you, Alison. And we've got that both in YouTube live and in the chat for those of you that want to take that great opportunity, because one of the facts is, folks, is that your business will always be limited by your level of competency. So if your competency level is here, your business is going to hit that limit. You need to invest in yourself. So this is a form of step 6 of the sales system, is to manage the money of investing in your own knowledge and understanding. So those folk that are already in the ScaleFast program, that's exactly what they're doing. They've invested, they're using that element of managing the money, sometimes even before they've got it. We've had people join our program before they've even got their business even started, and they've actually used money or capital that they're using to get their business off the ground. It's such a smart decision to make to enable that to happen, folks, to go and invest in themselves so that they can do that. And as you can see, for $197 per month, that is an unbelievably smart if you do offer, in addition to a stupid if you don't offer, for those folk watching now. It is limited, however, and every 24 hours from now, the price is going up by $50 per month until it returns to its recommended retail price of $497 per month. So You know in your gut if this is a decision for you to take, you know already you've made 99% of that decision. Go click the link and take up this offer. So the only business coaches down under are Alison and myself that are elite business coaches where Grant Cardone himself is sending his clients to. Alison was in fact, the first coach outside of North America to be raised to elite status where Grant was sending his clients. And I was the second one outside of North America that had that privilege as well. Not too many months behind Alison with that honor. What will disappear for folks when they come and join us, Alison?
The lack of clarity. So you will find clarity in your direction and your business. So you're going to drop the lack of clarity, which for so many people is huge. I ask so many people, what do you want? Answer that question. So you will drop your lack of clarity. You will also, what will disappear is inconsistent revenue. How many people want to know that they can turn their business off and on, they can have predictable revenue, predictable income? So you will lose the inconsistent revenue. You'll lose a lack of an effective end of sales process. So imagine knowing exactly where you are in your sales process, knowing exactly how to sell, knowing exactly what to do when someone says whatever they say, you are in the driver's seat. Imagine that. You will disappear, all of the things that will disappear, missed growth opportunities. So you can know how to continue to scale and grow your business. And probably the most will be fear. And this is a big one for people, that fear, that thing that is stopping you right now from doing what you need to do to exponentially grow your business. So, Gary, I will hand it over to you.
Great, Alison. With just a few moments to go, we have VIP with us in the live room today with Joyce. Joyce, do you have a question that you'd like to ask Alison or I about any of the 7 steps of the 10x sales system? Because if you do, feel free to jump out and share that question with us.
Not really a question. I think just a reflection that it's been really useful. Thanks for putting this on, guys. I think especially kind of getting the information of viewing it as an iterative process and kind of getting out of that habit of trying to perfect things, I think has been really, really helpful for me. So thanks a lot.
Great. And thanks, Joyce. And with that better understanding of the wheel, you don't have to identify specifically what it is, but you feel that you've identified some opportunities for action that might be in any parts of the wheel.
Yeah, definitely. I think kind of, for example, with attention, I think kind of this kind of idea that you don't have to have a perfect business idea yet or perfect product yet before you kind of start working on that attention piece. I think that's one example where, I definitely have some steps to take.
Oh, beautiful. That's fantastic, Joyce. And I encourage you to start doing that. Someone that I'm coaching at the moment who has been smart, like yourself, to invest in being able to get this information as early as possible in their business journey, had been really, there's some family issues about who in the family should know that this is happening and who shouldn't know. But as a result of that, hadn't been even talking to anybody, hadn't been engaging with anybody. And this is actually potentially a disruptive business model for a very old business style that is, and I can't reveal what space it's in. However, it's just as a result of talking about this need for attention. It's a he. He's actually gone and spoken to some quite successful business people who would actually potentially need this, but he never went to sell them the idea. It was just about, hey, I got this business idea. Well, if that was to exist, how would that benefit you? And just in the 2 people he spoke to initially, they both said that would be awesome. And it's like he got the C word out of that. What's the C word? It's a nice C word, folks, and it's more than 4 letters, so it's not a nasty one. It's a really
confirmation. I don't know.
Confirmation, yes, and confidence.
Confidence. All right,
Got confidence from it, right? And that's the point of going out, is that you can get a confidence from that. And as it turned out, we mentioned power base earlier. These people were in his power base, but again, because of that mental block about family, he hadn't gone to anyone in his power base. And as soon as he's done that, he's got some more confidence. He can say, hey, this is going to be worth me continuing to do some investment and actually get to a beta mode and stuff like that. And I need, we've even got to the point where he understands very soon he needs to actually break through and let his family members know this is what's happening, because it's got to happen at some point anyway, right? All right, folks. Alison, I'd like to thank you once again for sharing your amazingly successful story. For all folks that have come up, any final words from you, Alison?
Let's go and 10x your businesses.
I love it. Let's go and 10x your businesses. So, folks, from myself, Gary Ryan, and Alison Wheeler, we are the 10x Business Coaches program from Down Under with our Scale Fast program. As Alison just said, let's go and 10x your businesses, folks. This is a symbol that we do for folk in the 10x world. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for those of you that have joined us live on YouTube. We want to see you go and tell other people about this program. Come back, find the YouTube link, share it with people, and encourage them. Because, of course, the most important question from us to you right now is, who do you know that could benefit from the Scale Fast program? And those of you, remember that offer, every 24 hours, it goes up by $50 per month, $197 per month. That's a crazy, stupid deal. We're happy to do it, but you got to take it up fast. Let's go. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you all next time.